Namaste. Today I'm going to read Volume 2, Book 2, Rudra, Samhita, Part 5, Chapter 39, The Annihilation of the Army of Shankachuda in the Shiva Puran. Om Bhakratuna Mahakaya, Surya Kuti Samaparpa, Nirveganam Kuruvidava Sarvakaya, Mekadantai Vidma Bhakratuna. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai. Hari Om Tat Sat. Vyasa said, O intelligent one, on hearing the narrative of Kali, what did Shiva say? What did he do? Please narrate to me. I am eager to know it. Sanat Kumara said, on hearing the words of Kali, Lord Shiva, the actor of great divine sports, laughed. Shiva consoled her. On hearing the celestial voice, Shiva, an expert in the knowledge of principles, went himself to the battle along with his gunners. He was seated on the great bull and surrounded by Virabhadra and others, the Bhairavas and the Kasatrapalas, all equal in valor to him. Assuming a heroic form, Lord Shiva entered the battleground. There Shiva shone well as the embodied form of the Annihilator. On seeing Shiva, Shankachuda got down from the aerial chariot, bowed with great devotion, and fell flat on the ground. After bowing to him, he immediately got into his chariot. He speedily prepared for the fight and seized the bow and the arrows. The fight between Shiva and the Danavas went on for 100 years, and they showered arrows fearlessly, like clouds pouring down incessantly. The heroic Shankachuda discharged terrible arrows playfully. Shiva split all of them by means of his arrows. Maharudra, the odd-eyed Shiva, the punisher of the wicked and the goal of the good, angrily hit his limbs with various weapons. Taking up his sharp sword and the leather shield, the Danava rushed at the sacred bull of Shiva and hit it on its head. When his bull was hit, Shiva sportively cut off the sword and the shining shield by means of his Kusurapra. When the shield was split, the Asura hurled his spear. Shiva split it into two with his arrow, and it came before him. The infuriated Danava, Shankachuda, hurled a discus. Immediately, Shiva smashed it into pieces with his fist. He hurled his club with force at Shiva, rapidly split by Shiva. The club was reduced to ashes. Then, seizing an axe with his hand, the infuriated king of Danavas, Shankachuda, rushed at Shiva. By the volley of his arrows, Shiva sportively struck the Asura with axe in his hand. The Danava quickly regained consciousness and got into his excellent chariot. With divine weapons and arrows, he encompassed the whole sky and shone. On seeing him coming on, Shiva sounded his damaru enthusiastically and twanged the bowstring, the noise whereof was unbearable. The Lord filled all the quarters with the sound of his horn. Shiva himself roared then, frightening the Asuras. The lordly bull then bellowed, putting the haughty, trumpeting elephants to shame. The deep roar filled the sky, the earth, and the 8 quarters. With his hands, the fierce Lord Shiva clapped the earth and the sky. All the previous shouts and roars were surpassed by that sound. The Kasatrapala produced a boisterous laughing sound, boding ill to the Asuras. In that great battle, Bhairava too roared. There was a terrific tumult in the midst of that battle. All round amongst the gunners, the shouts of heroes rose up. The Danavas were frightened by those harsh and terrible sounds. On hearing them, the powerful king of Danavas became very furious. When Shiva shouted, O wicked one, stay by, stay by, the gods and the gunners rapidly shouted, Victory, victory! Then, coming again, the valorous son of Dhamba hurled at the Rudra his spear, terrible with shooting flames. While it came on, blazing brilliantly like a great conflagration in the battleground, it was immediately suppressed by Kasatrapala by means of the meteor springing from his mouth. Again, the great battle between Shiva and the Danava was resumed. The heaven and the earth, including all mountains, oceans, and rivers, shook and trembled. Shiva split up the arrows discharged by the son of Damba by means of hundreds and thousands of his fierce arrows. Similarly, the arrows of Shiva were split up by the Danava. Then the infuriated Shiva hit him with his trident. Unable to bear that blow, he fell unconscious on the ground. The Asura regained consciousness rapidly. He seized his bow and hit the Rudra and all others by means of his arrows. The valorous Shankachuta assumed 10,000 arms by means of magic and rapidly enveloped Shiva by means of 10,000 discuses. Then Shiva, the infuriated consort of Durga, the destroyer of all insurmountable distress, split the discuses rapidly by means of his excellent arrows. Then the Danava seized his mace and, accompanied by a huge army, rushed at Shiva with the intention to kill him. The infuriated Shiva, the destroyer of the pride of the wicked, split the mace of the Danava, rushing headlong by means of a sharp-edged sword. When the mace was split, the Danava became very furious. The brilliant Danava took up a spear that blazed unbearable to the enemies. By means of his trident, Shiva hit the comely king of Danavas rapidly in the chest, even as he approached with the spear in his hand. From the chest of Shankachuta, pierced by the trident, a valorous huge being came out and said, "Stand by, stand by." Laughing noisily, Shiva severed the terrible head of the being that was coming out by means of a sword. He fell on the ground. Then, spreading her mouth wide open, Kali furiously devoured innumerable asuras whose heads were crushed by her fierce fangs. The excited and infuriated Kshatrapala devoured many other daityas. Some were killed, struck down by Bhairava's missiles. Others were wounded. Virabhadra furiously destroyed many other heroes. Nandisvara killed many other demons. Thus the other Ganas, readily prepared and furiously heroic, destroyed many daityas, asuras, and suppressors of the gods. Thus a major portion of his army was destroyed there. Many of the soldiers, cowardly and terrified, fled. Footnotes. There are no footnotes in this chapter. Here ends today's reading of the Shiva Puran. Om Prabhu Prananatam Vibham Veshwanatam Jagannatanatam Saranatapacham Bhutam Veshwaram Bhutanatam Shivam Shankaram Shambhu Meshanamidam Kapurakaram Karanavartaram Sansara Saram Bhujagendra Sadavasantam Hidriyaravindev Bhavam Bhavaisatam. Om Namo Parvati Pate Hara Hara Mahadeva Ki Jai. Om Hum Jum Saburosam Trambakam Hejamaswan Vishtivaranam Urvarakmi Padanam Minuchum Shamatatum Swahabhuvum Sajum. Jayanti Mangalakali Padrakali Palin Tragakashma Shiptati Swahaswara Namaste. Om Tua Mata Chapitatu Tua Bandusha Chasakatu Tua Vidya Dravinang Tua Sarvam Mama Devati Vom Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.